Merry Christmas. Happy New Year. Happy Feast of Mary, the Mother of God. Raise your hand if you want to be a saint. Something really amazing happens on this night. In fact, I can tell you, statistically, that 74% of Americans right now want to become better. Look at their life right now and say, I'm not satisfied. I want to change. I want to be someone tomorrow that I was not today. I want to be someone next year that I wasn't this year. How do I know that? Well, there was a poll that was taken. 74.2% of Americans, which is 188.9 million people, have said that they're going to make a New Year's resolution. If we just ask, like, why do we make New Year's resolutions? What's behind a New Year's resolution? I don't like who I am. I don't like my situation. I don't like my job. I don't like my work. I don't like something about my personality. I don't want to change. Top 4 things that people commit to when it comes to New Year's resolution. The first is a diet. The second is to save money. The third is to eat healthier, which I don't know how that's not the same as number 1, but I guess like number 3, you can just eat healthier but not lose weight. I don't know. Good. And then number 4 is some sort of self-care. So right now, like in America, there is like this hunger in the hearts of a lot of people to make themselves better, to be great. And we should do the exact same, but not just today. In fact, every day of our lives. Every day of our life, again and again and again, we're called to act, to move, to do something. Let's break these statistics down just a little bit here. If you're Generation Z, which is being born between 1997 and 2015, 91.8% of Generation Z have said they're going to make a New Year's resolution. If you're a millennial, 88% of you have said you're going to make a New Year's resolution. If you're Gen X, which is me, 78% of Gen Xers say they're going to make a New Year's resolution. If you're a baby boomer, it drops to 60%. And if you're the silent generation, only 46% of you will make a New Year's resolution. It's interesting if you follow the data, that the older you get, the more that you will make a New Year's resolution. Why is that? Well, I mean, obviously, because the older that you get, you don't need to make a New Year's resolution because you have life totally figured out and you're already perfect. I mean, like, that's obvious. Or is it this fact? That the older you get, the more you realize how silly New Year's resolutions are. 25% of people who make a New Year's resolution keep the New Year's resolution longer than 30 days. And only 8% of people who start on January 1st will actually make a life-changing habit from that New Year's resolution. So I just want to say right now that, like, whether you make a New Year's resolution or not, like, good luck. But I think we do need to capture the idea that people right now, and we should be part of that, want to look at their lives and say, wait, hold up. The way that I'm living my life today is not how I want to live my life tomorrow. The way that I'm living my life at this hour is not how I want to live my life the next hour. There is something within me that is calling myself out of myself to greatness. I want to be a saint. I want to be more charitable. I want to be more loving. I want to be more forgiving. I want to no longer be who I was yesterday, and I want to be something better tomorrow. But here's the problem with New Year's resolutions, and here's the problem with people who have dreams and desires. The vast majority of the people never act on them. And I just want to say that not acting on your dreams and desires is ultimately anti-Christian. Part of what it is to be a Christian is to act. I'll give you some biblical examples here. So let's use today's gospel passage. As soon as the angels visit the shepherds, it says in today's gospel, the shepherds went in haste. So the shepherds weren't like, hey, we got this baby Jesus that's born. Hey, let's think about this for a little bit. Let's calculate how long it's going to take to Bethlehem. Let's make sure that we have enough food and supplies. And then let's make sure that, like, do we really think they were angels? I don't know. Maybe we should study angels first before we believe it. No. There was an inspiration, and they acted immediately. And what were they responding to? They were responding to a woman who acted in haste. When the angel Gabriel came to the Blessed Virgin Mary didn't say, well, you want to know what? I might need to take a silent retreat for 30 days to make that decision on whether I should accept the invitation to be the mother of God. No, she said, let it be done to me. And then to show Mary's disposition in life, the angel Gabriel had told the Blessed Virgin Mary that her cousin Elizabeth had conceived a child in her old age, right? Who was thought to be barren. And then what does Luke's gospel say right then and there? It says this. It's one of my favorite parts of the second joyful mystery, the visitation. As soon as Mary finds out that she's conceived Jesus and the angel leaves, it says, and then Mary made haste and went and visited her cousin Elizabeth. Which means that Mary didn't wait around in Nazareth to be like, wow, maybe I should send word to Elizabeth, let her know that I'm coming. No, she just goes. In fact, speaking of the word go, what is the Great Commission? Matthew 28. What is the first word of the Great Commission in Matthew 28? Go. It's not discern about it, think about it, pray about it, have a discussion about it, have a small group about it, journal about it. No, it's go. Do something, act. And it seems like so much of our life is we have an idea, we have an inspiration, we know that we should do something, but then we don't act. This is why the vast majority of people don't keep New Year's resolutions. They have an idea, they have an inspiration, they have a thought. Raise your hand if you think you should eat healthier this year. Raise your hand if you think that you should probably eat less food this year. Okay? Raise your hand if you should try to save more money this year. This isn't a New Year's, this is why you should live your life every single day. But we don't. And then we open another bag of chips and we eat. The other week when I went on a retreat in Birmingham, some of you heard the story, but I arrived and I was supposed to be at a retreat house, but I got shifted because they had to return the retreat house into a COVID place because a bunch of Franciscan friars had COVID. So literally I showed up and I had no place to stay, and I went and stayed actually at Benedictine Abbey, but they wouldn't let me stay with the Benedictine monks, so they put me in their retreat house, but there was no food there, so I went to the grocery store. My first night, Sunday night, and I'm out buying groceries, and I walked down the chip aisle because I'm I'll get some who doesn't like chips and salsa? So I'm walking down the chip aisle, and the guy who's restocking the shelves, he's working. I'm show up in my cassock and my mask, and I'm totally freaking people out. And he looks at me. He said, "Can I help you find something you need, sir?" Or he called me Father. Father, can I help you find something you need? I just looked at him. I was like, "Need? No one needs anything in this aisle. No one ever has needed a chip in their life." And he just looks at me, he's like, whoa. That's the most profound thing I've ever heard in the chip aisle. But what's the problem? The thought is you don't need chips, but then what? Well, I'll just go buy more chips. Or go through your house tonight and throw them all away and make a vow to never buy them again if you do go to confession. You change your life by acting. There's a difference between being hasty and being imprudent, but the biggest problem in our lives is we just don't act. We get an inspiration to pray the rosary. Well, you want to know what? I really should do all those 6 other things that I really don't need to do anyways, but I won't pray my rosary. Or you want to know what, I should really commit to a holy hour at the church, but you want to know what, you want to know what, I really need to work on my marriage and actually just sit down with my spouse, but you know, it's easier to watch television right now. Or I need to, do it. Go to your neighbor's house tonight. Don't wait until oh, you want to know, I'm going to visit more people. Go tonight. Knock on your neighbor's door tonight. Go to your Aunt Matilda's or your Uncle Henry's. Go tonight and just hey, just want to know, I want to wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Act. Don't wait. So many people live their lives with a whole list of things they never did, they never accomplished, because they never just did it. So, if you want to change your life and you want to make some New Year's resolutions, here's 3 tips. You are 68% more likely to change your life and to commit to something if you write it down. If you want to be more generous, more charitable, more loving, more forgiving, if you want to pray more, study more, read more, get a big piece of paper, write it down, and put that piece of paper all over your house. On the fridge, on your bathroom mirror, on your front door. Number 1, write it down and visualize it and so you can see it. Number 2, tell someone. Accountability is the greatest way that we change our lives. How did Jesus send out the apostles? Did he send them by themselves? No. He sent them in pairs. Why? Husbands and wives, what are you supposed to be for each other? Accountability partners. So, when you turn to your wife and you're like, hey, you want to know what? This year, I've decided that, I'll use the number 1. I'm going to stop eating junk food. Okay, wife, what do you get to punish your husband with for the rest of the year? No junk food. And won't that make your life better as well, wife? I want to study more. I want to pray more. I want to exercise more. Have someone hold you accountable. We have Father Bullock back with us again. Father Bullock and I talk on the phone every single day. Yes or yes? It's called accountability. It's called brotherhood. It's called fraternity. It's called being a Christian. But the vast majority of Christians don't talk to each other, and particularly about the things that actually they want to change in their lives. Write it down. Tell someone. And number 3, come on. It's All Saints Parish. What do you got to do? 5, 4, 3, 2. Oh, that's backward. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then what do? You act. You just do it. The hesitation that we place before us keeps us from really being who we're called to be. To think tonight that 74% of Americans want to do something really, really great with their lives. They want to change. And that within 30 days, in 30 days, 66% of Americans will actually feel defeated and broken. I mean, if you really think about that, why are people depressed in the month of February and March? Part of it is probably the fact that 60-some% of Americans have epically failed at changing one aspect of their life to make themselves a better person. This statistics right here. 91% of people from Generation X, only 93% of them in 30 days will keep their resolution. We as Christians should be the champions of people who are keeping resolutions and changing our lives. But here's the deal, not just tonight and not just tomorrow, but every single day. I genuinely, I think every single day Christians should wake up and say, how do I change my life? How do I effectively become who I'm called to be? How do I become the spouse? How do I become the husband, the mother, the parent, the child, the coworker, the friend, the parishioner that I'm called to be? Through God's grace, let's consecrate ourselves to Our Lady. Let's ask Our Lady to help us, to guide us, to lead us. That not in just 30 days, but in 365 days, and not just in the 65 days, but for the rest of our lives, we will act with haste. We will go and we will do the work of God, and in doing so, change the world forever.